Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. I'm getting to like Kuala Lumpur, and boy, is this quite a junket for me. Jasper had asked me to talk about the challenges that we've faced at ComScore in measuring mobile audiences and the solutions we're implementing. So I'd like to say that my presentation today will give you a bit of a flavor of the problems that many of us face, not just ComScore, in measuring mobile audiences, which is a lot of this is our syndicated product, and that there's hope. There's some real clear solutions that we have started to dabble in that are very promising, and those are the learnings that I hope to share with you today. So there are unique challenges to managing panels of users and whether you're talking mobile or PC usage, and being able to passively collect their digital behavior across these devices are indeed challenging, especially when what we're measuring is a very long tail world of digital publishers, all the content that is made available through the internet. So here's what I'll cover the next 20 minutes. Many of you may not be familiar with some of the products that we have at ComScore, so I'll provide a short introduction of the products, not to sell our products at all, but rather to just help you understand where I'm coming from with a lot of the positions that I'm taking. Then I'll go into I'll talk about the challenges that we have learned and how we've responded to these problems. After all, we hope to have a business that will take us through the future. And finally, we'll talk about what cutting-edge initiatives we are in the midst of in the area of multi-platform audience measurement and how we are handling mobile. So, okay, a bit of background. What do we measure in the mobile world? We have 3 syndicated products, which are shown on this slide. First is Mobile Lens, which describes mobile and tablet behaviors, and it describes them by device, the behaviors, I mean. Mobile Metrix provides usage across sites accessed through mobile. In mobile measurements, it's a mobile audience measurement service, similar to our Media Metrix. And I'll show you some of the data, I'll give you a broad idea of what that provides. And then our third product is Ad Metrix. It's limited to fewer countries, but as I understand from our sales force here in Asia Pac, this is a product that answers some dying needs to understand how advertisers are using display advertising on mobile. So we're trying to build out that product as well. To give you some idea, I've sort of put together in a chart the kinds of things that our product Mobile Lens types of data it provides. It is a monthly online survey done in 8 countries. Japan is unfortunately the only country that we do this right now in Asia. Now, we've been doing this since 2004. At the time, this was under this company named Metrix. And ComScore bought Metrix in 2008 and continued the support of these products. Just to give you a flavor of what Mobile Lens tracks monthly, here's a breakout of smartphones by device or share by brand in the US from 2005 to 2011, when huge shifts were seen in terms of share by devices owned. As you can see, there's a huge difference across these 4 years. In 2005, Palm was huge at 44% share. In just 4 years, it was down to 2% in the US. Meanwhile, you see the Android leap from a 3% share in 2010 to 45% just a year later. So this is the kind of rapid changes with Mobile Lens, and it's quite good at monitoring. And as you can see, initially, those types of companies that are most interested in Mobile Lens are telcos as well as original equipment manufacturers. Okay, so that was US. In contrast, here is Japan, comparing 2 years, 2011 and 2012. Yes, smartphone has increased in penetration, and Androids account for the largest share, 2/3 of smartphone users. Now, while iPhones increased in number, its share has dipped ever so slightly in 2012. Here's another example of the kind of insights that Mobile Lens would provide. Here I'm comparing the types of activities people do with their smartphones, Android versus iPhone users. You can see that they engage in pretty much the same types of activities with their phones. What makes Apple, where the difference is that Apple users are just more intense in these types of non-talk, non-social stuff. They are much heavier users of their phones for music. Okay. So what about mobile metrics, our other syndicated product for mobile? It's as I said, it basically tracks the audiences to different sites who are visited via mobile. Things like number of unique visitors, percent reached by site. So that's pretty useful for a lot of digital planners in putting together media plans, digital plans. Okay, so two aspects of our business are irrefutable. One, understand we are a company that seeks to measure audiences to all digital content, regardless of the delivery form. So smartphones and tablets have indeed changed the digital landscape. Huge challenge for research companies like us. And mobile has presented a very unique set of measurement challenges. We found that traditional survey methodologies such as panels are now inadequate, truly inadequate. And this new world order requires new ways of integrating different sources of information, mixing different methods of collecting information. Okay, so it is data integration where we have found our salvation. That has provided us the solution we need to measure the very long tail of the internet, and it's the same solution that enables us to track mobile audiences. This solution we call UDM, or Unified Digital Measurement. We are able to estimate the volume of visits through census information because we ask all publishers, whether they're subscribers to our service or not, to tag their sites, to tag the content. So we're able to get that census, site-centric type of information, where that way we are able to estimate the volume of the visits created from the tagging. We are then able to get the demographics of those visits through a traditional panel of respondents. And we have about 2 million around the world, a little bit more than 2 million now. However, we monitor the panelists' web behavior passively through our software metering technologies that sits in respondents' hard drives. It takes a bit of time to explain how these different data streams are integrated. That's why I brought a picture. But for now, know that it takes more than a panel to accurately measure web behavior. And what this, hopefully this chart tells you, is how we try to bring together all these sources of information. Okay, now on to the challenges. These are the specific problems we're trying to overcome. First is the fragmentation of devices. Remember the slide I showed you about the diversity of handsets, smartphones owned by people, especially in a market like the US. Each one or each brand or each model requires a different software meter configuration. Yet we have to make sure that despite the adaptations we make on that meter, that we are still consistently measuring the way that particular handset or all handsets are being tracked. The second challenge is the fact that we need to measure both applications as well as browser-based behavior in the handset. The latter is easy, the browser-based. What's very, very hard is the applications. They require a totally different way of tracking. Now, the third challenge is fragmentation in platforms. By this, I mean the proliferation of mobile devices with tablets and such. And finally, we have the challenge of fragmentation across content and network providers. In other words, same content, but distributed in ever so slight adjustments to optimize viewing or consumption according to the device used. Okay, so all this means is managing enormous volumes of data. So we've already started to talk about big data and data scientists. If ever we need them now, it's with this thing called mobile. It really complicates our lives. Great advantages, great benefits, but from a research company's perspective, it brings in a whole slew of different problems that require big solutions. Okay, Now, this slide illustrates how we need to manage fragmentation in mobile, which is a problem, one of the 4 problems. There are about 1,100 different mobile handsets alone, so metering needs to be augmented by site-centric and network-centric data. This is the tagging that's very important. Content now is repurposed across different channels, and we need to measure publishers' content in all the forms that they are made available. And this requires, beyond technology, very labor and data-intensive dictionary management. Because unless you can properly identify the content, your measurement is worth, shall I say the word, shit. So, and most important, we need to develop approaches to measuring across platforms to provide that complete accounting of digital behavior or consumption of the content. So here's what we've learned through the last 1.5 years of our development. 1, site-centric measurement is central. We need to glue or tie together platform and network methods, but we have high-quality tonnage measurement through site-centric measurement, despite, and this is the downside, low-quality unique identifiers. Secondly, network-centric measurement can become the bedrock. We can get high-quality unique identifiers. We have highly secure, robust privacy protection, but partial tonnage because Wi-Fi activity is now off-network, and that requires tweaking. Third, panel matters, but concepts must evolve. There's still the usefulness of panel information. Meter panels give deep visibility into platform usage. Household panels give visibility into multi-device consumption and incremental reach. Multiple devices such as, say, mobile, PC, and tablets. And importantly, panels give us visibility into the demographic composition. Okay, so that's what we've learned. Now let me tell you about where we're headed. ComScore currently has 3 services. We have that web measurement we call, I said, is Media Metrix, or MMX as it's called in Europe. Video Metrix service, which only looks at online video audiences, and that also has its unique set of challenges. And then thirdly, Mobile Metrics. Our vision is to bring all 3, at least in our initial phase, in 2013. We want to bring all 3 types of measurement together, so we would be reporting a net, unduplicated audience data for sites, regardless of platform, regardless of the device used to deliver the content. The first set of data from our R&D will be in February next month for the UK and March for the US. So this first quarter, we will have our first total digital sets of data. And this is at least our near-term plan for reporting multi-platform measurement in the digital world. This is our strategy. First, we measure each platform in the best possible way. And secondly, we measure the overlap across these digital platforms using both census and panel data, and then modeling the overlap. And I'll tell you a little bit more through some of the unique projects we've been involved in the US. So fortunately, we've had industry committees or councils in the US to partner with on this road of advancing multi-platform measurement, audience measurement. To date, we've completed what I consider seminal work for an industry consortium called the Coalition of Innovative Media Measurement. These are made up of agencies, advertisers like Unilever, as well as the television companies and digital companies like Microsoft, where they've pulled money together specifically to find new methods of measuring across platform. And they've sunk a lot of money into funding these projects. And one of those projects was something that ComScore had done. The second study we've done was NBC's London Olympics coverage. That was clearly multi-platform. I don't know how many of you may have seen the NBC presentation. It's pretty impressive. I say that not because ComScore was involved, but the thinking and the funding that NBC put into that study was truly, truly amazing. And I bring some data to show you, the kinds of learning that we can get from multi-platform. And then our third effort is one we've currently launched with Arbitron for ESPN, which is a major sports network. Okay, so first off, what did we learn from the first study we did, which was CIM, or the Coalition for Innovation in Media Measurement? From our first initiative, we found that building the required larger samples to measure cross-platform is unachievable. We had, even if you had 100,000 people in your panel, it is not enough to measure overlap. It's maybe enough to measure audience within a platform, but once you get into the whole business of trying to figure out audience duplication, it is not enough. It's just not big enough. So single source continues to be foundational, and it's a necessary methodology. It is key to leverage census measurement, which is the other part of the pie that you need for multi-platform management. Secondly, we learned it's not possible to measure the digital world with consumer panels alone. And third, advanced advertising strategies require measurement solutions. So this is the formidable challenge. This is the big, if there was anything at all that the CIM members came up with, it's like we have a huge problem here in terms of being able to scale the research. So one way we found this out was putting together, again, the CIM members were somewhat involved in this, but this was the big study we had done for NBC, where these were all the different parts that we measured, and then we tried to integrate this into something meaningful to help NBC understand how best to manage and sell its advertising inventory. Here's just an example of the kind of learnings we got from this study. One thing, big aha was there's no cannibalization of audience in multi-screen. Consumption is actually additive across all those different devices. Additional devices were associated with more TV viewing. In other words, the more devices they had, the more they consumed the content. And it made the value of the content NBC was providing even greater. Okay, similarly, the addition of tablets was basically additive to all other devices. Each device seemed to meet a different set of needs, used at different times and sometimes at different places and occasionally together. So I just wanted to leave off one last thing about ESPN. This was amazing because this was a big, even a bigger seminal study. This initiative integrates the complementary resources of two companies, ComScore, my company, and Arbitron, looking at using census and panel-based PC, mobile, and TV set-top box measurement capabilities from ComScore, because we do partner with cable operators in the US, and the persons-based single-source radio and television measurement available through Arbitron's portable people meter. As you can see, what I tried to do here is express this thing that the whole challenge is to knit all these sources of information into something like this. First, here's how we're going to gather data on each platform. For TV, we put together the set-top box, which has return path data from ComScore with demographic viewing information from Arbitron. So we have the volume and we have the demos. In addition, Arbitron is providing information on out-of-home TV viewing. Radio data will also come from the Arbitron portable people meter. And then for PC and mobile, of course, ComScore is providing the data from our UDM. The trick is how to do the duplication. And this is how we're doing it. I'll quickly go through this so I'll leave time for questions. And this is how the whole picture looks like. So the primary goal is to be able to measure duplication across all these platforms. In order to do this, the project will take the data sources I just reviewed and then measure the overlap, proceeding in a pairwise fashion. But that's not alone. What we need is sort of like a landscape to figure out whether the duplication that we're modeling actually makes sense. And for that, we're building a 2,000 portable people meter panelists to establish the patterns of duplication across these devices. And this will provide, as I said, the parameters, or the patterns of duplication for the algorithms we will be using in determining the net reach across these platforms. So you can see this is a solution of combination of census data, panel data, and big data. So this is the age of the data scientists, as Jamit had said. So, sorry, this is a brave new world. This is the horizon. This is the road we're walking, and we hope to be able to push the envelope even further. So with that, I'm ready for questions.
Thank you, Beth. That was fantastic. And one of the things that we're going to come back to, I think, later is people in this room need to assess which things their companies can do and which can need to partner with other people. Because we're seeing we saw from Ericsson just there, now from ComScore, some really big sets of data and some big tools. So, questions for Beth?
So I talk so fast. I tend to give too much information, I think.
Hi, Beth. This is Frank Kelly from Lightspeed.
Hi, Frank.
So this is a big data fusion exercise in the end. I'm assuming.
Not fusion, integration.
Integration. So.
Sorry, can we hold on just one second? I think there is another open mic somewhere within about 10 feet of you. From the way that the sound's picking up. Anybody down there got a mic? Okay, nobody's opening up. Okay, please ask the question.
So how will you must have to fuse on some variable of some sort. How are you doing the fusion? I'm sorry, how are you integrating?
Integration?
Yes.
A lot of it is it's similar to the way I'm not sure you're familiar with how we do UDM, but it's the principle of being able to look at the volume, the data. And then that's why the panel is still important, because the panel gives you a view of who are the different types of people, their characteristics that are seeing the content, right? So if you have the volume and you have the composition of people and you also have some idea, say, of what the different sites are, you can start to see, from the panel, it informs you of the demographics that you get from the census, from the tagging. Both are important because the tagging gives you the volume. So it gives you like, is X bigger than Y? Census gives you that. And then you integrate the demos. Does that make sense? I can give you a fuller UDM explanation.
Beth, in the Olympics chart, there was the right-hand column, 8.5 hours for people with multiple device. Now, would that have been 8.5 hours of viewing across 8.5 hours, or could it have been 8.5 hours across 5 hours if people were watching it? Certainly, I know I was watching it on more than one device at the same time. Yeah,
that was the total number of hours they had spent consuming Olympic content. Does that make sense? And it's divvied up by the time spent by device.
So if I have my iPad watching the information and I'm watching it on the TV for 4 hours, I spent 4 hours and it will count as 2 hours for iPad and 2 hours, sorry, for tablet, other brands are available, and for the TV.
Yeah, if it's simultaneous, those 2 hours, where it counts as 2 hours for tablet and 2 hours for TV, yes. I think that's how we calculated it.
Questions for Beth? We've got time for and one more question. Okay. There's obviously more information there, invaluable resource, so please do contact Beth afterwards. Thank you so much.